BeST is a randomised controlled trial aiming to improve the mental health of infants and young children in foster and kinship care in the UK and to reduce the number of times they have to move. Research tells us that children in foster care do better if they are placed in a safe, permanent family home. If young children are left in limbo, this drift can pose a serious threat to their mental health. We compared an infant mental health service, also known as the New Orleans Intervention Model, or NIM, with the social work care and support that families already receive, also known as services as usual. NIM and SAU offered a detailed assessment, and NIM also offered up to 9 months of treatment for children, birth families and their foster parents, aiming to help their relationships. Both NIM and services as usual then recommended whether the child should go back to their birth parents or be placed with adoptive parents or other permanent carers. Before the study, we had noticed some big differences between foster care in New Orleans, Glasgow and London. In London and Glasgow, foster care is usually intended as short-term, and a child is moved to another family if adopted. In New Orleans, the law allows foster carers to adopt the child if they can't go back to their birth family. There were also big differences in the way social workers, lawyers and judges were involved in supporting children in care. We spoke with these professionals, as well as parents and family members, foster parents and people working in mental health, to help understand these differences, the way they affected how NIM and services as usual supported families to find out what was best for children. Nearly 500 children aged between 0 and 5 and their families took part in the research, making it the largest study of its kind. Birth and foster families, whether they received NIM or SAU, gave us information about their child's mental health and development at regular points in the study. Nearly 80% of families stayed involved in BeST. Gathering all this information helped us work out whether NIM or services as usual was better for children's development and well-being. This animation will outline some key findings and achievements from the study. We followed up with all the children who took part in BeST 2.5 years later. We found no difference in children's mental health between NIM, the New Orleans Intervention Model, and services as usual. This was of little surprise following our interviews and focus groups with over 400 parents, carers, and professionals in the study. Although individual components of NIM were delivered to a high quality, the systems and timescales surrounding children's journeys through care prevented some families randomised to NIM receiving it. In Scotland, a lack of legally imposed timescales created a backlog, and in England, the short legal timescales left too little time for some families to receive the NIM trial of treatment. The rate of children getting into a permanent placement was nearly 4.5 times faster, 4.36, in England compared to Scotland. Long timescales in Scotland also impacted costs. NIM and services as usual cost almost twice as much in Scotland. Our interviews suggest having a judge oversee a child's journey through care, including the timescales everyone has to adhere to, was the most important way to ensure the infant's well-being is at the centre of everything and that families can access services they need. Another problem with the English and Scottish care system is that foster carers are not registered as adopters. This creates inbuilt disruption in attachment relationships if the child can't go home to their birth family. It is crucial that we follow up with the families in BeST to find out what happens to them in the longer term. In the meantime, significant changes are needed if we are to better support babies and young children in foster care. Firstly, we need clear judicial oversight at every stage of a child's journey through the care system to make sure timely decisions are made. Next, legal timescales must be long enough to support family members who may need treatment, but not so long that children drift in the care system. Then, dual registration. Foster carers should be registered as potential adopters to prevent further separation and distress if children can't go home. There are models of this to follow from other countries. In the meantime, we need to ensure children experience committed foster care from the start, no matter how temporary, as we have shown that commitment to the child's lifelong development matters. Finally, mental health services for infants need to be an integrated part of the social care and family justice system. By addressing these areas, we can better support the mental health and stability of infants and young children in foster care, providing them with the best possible start in life. For more information about the study and our findings, search BeST Services Trial or look on the NSPCC or University of Glasgow website.